at two massive makeshift camps that have been their home for 6 chaotic weeks. Supporters of deposed Egyptian President Mohamed Morsy hunkered down Monday, and waited. With the Muslim holy month of Ramadan over, could the fierce crackdown that the government has hinted at come any minute? Media reports indicate security forces may start breaking up the camps Monday. All options are on the table, the state-run Ahram Online news site cited an Interior Ministry official as saying Sunday. The official added that security forces have amped up their presence recently near the sites, one near the Rabaah al-Adawiya mosque in eastern Cairo, and a smaller one near the Cairo University campus. The camps, packed with protesters refusing to budge until Morsi is reinstated, have morphed into cities within a city. Thousands throng both locations, living and sleeping in tents, some with their families. Vendors sell everything from bottled water to masks. Children play in inflatable castles and splash in kiddie pools. The government have accused the protesters of packing the sites with their children, to use them as human shields. "We are living here," a woman named Rania said. "We cannot leave our children and come here. We have to bring them with us." The protesters say they're ready and have vowed to put up a fight. "The youngest child among us will be a lion against them," said a protester who gave her name as Haineen. "They want to come in. They're welcome. What makes them so frustrated is that we are peaceful." Anticipating an imminent crackdown, the demonstrators have fortified their sites with sandbags, tires and stacks of bricks. Volunteers pat down visitors and check bags. The government has authorized security forces to take all necessary measures to face these dangers and end them. Occasionally, a military helicopter flies by overhead. The sites are clearly the focal point of this political fight, and how the interim government responds will be a defining moment in this complex standoff. Unyielding, the protests started soon after Egypt's military toppled Morsi in a coup last month. Hundreds have been killed and thousands have been injured in recent weeks, either in clashes between opposing protesters or in clashes between protesters and Egyptian security forces. Last month, Information Minister Daraya Sharaf el-Din said the gatherings were a threat to national security and traffic congestion. And 2 weeks ago, Interim President Adli Mansour issued orders in the event of a possible state of emergency. The EG News website reported, "State of emergency is a loaded term in Egypt. Former President Hosni Mubarak ruled for 30 years under an emergency decree that barred unauthorized assembly, restricted freedom of speech and allowed police to jail people indefinitely." A high-level security source that EG News said security forces would approach the task of clearing out the sites according to the law and in phases, beginning with a warning, then use tear gas until the need for legitimate self-defense. What happened to Morsi? Morsi became Egypt's first democratically elected president in 2012, a year after popular protests forced Mubarak to resign and end his 3-decade rule. But a year into Morsi's term, many Egyptians wanted him out, too. They said the Western-educated Islamist, aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood movement, was not inclusive, and they said he had failed to deliver on the people's aspirations for freedom and social justice. Morsi was accused of authoritarianism and trying to force the Brotherhood's Islamic agenda onto the nation's laws. He was also criticized by many Egyptians frustrated with rampant crime and a struggling economy that hadn't shown improvement since Mubarak resigned. But supporters say Morsi repeatedly offered cabinet positions to secularists and liberals, only to get repeatedly rejected. Since taking power from Morsi, Egypt's military has installed an interim civilian government with Mansour as interim president. But Egypt's generals, the ones who oversaw Morsi's ouster and led the country for a year after Mubarak's resignation, still wield significant power.